Hello, Glasgow. Hello, you people up in the posh seats as well. I can't see you, but I'm sure you're there. Hello, hello. So, for over 20 years at Kissing with Confidence, we have spoken to tens of thousands of people in all sectors, including the university sector, at all levels, and on their leadership skills, on their influence and persuasion skills, on their management skills, on their selling skills. 20 years, tens of thousands of people. And at the beginning of many of these programs, we asked them, well, what do you think is important? What kind of skills or traits or abilities are important if you want to be an effective operator? Even in your personal life, your social life, and your business life. What makes you good from the cocktail bar to the boardroom? And there are lots and lots of traits and skills and abilities that come up in respect of that. But by far the biggest word in the word cloud would be confidence. Sure, it's good if you're a bit charming and charismatic. It's fantastic if you're empathetic and you've got a bit of rapport going with people. It's absolutely brilliant curiosity to come up in the introduction. It's great if you're curious. It's fantastic if you make an impact. All of these things are important. But every single group puts confidence right up at the top. So by far, as I say, self-confidence would be the biggest word in the word cloud. So here's what we're going to do in the next 15 minutes or so. We're going to together develop the formula for self-confidence. Self-confidence is important. It's an emotional intelligence skill. Now, working your emotional intelligence skills can be a little bit like nailing jelly to the wall. In other words, if you're going to pass an exam, if you're going to do a good spreadsheet, if you're going to do things like that, it's really important you understand where you're going with that spreadsheet. But you know where you're right and you know where you're wrong. Self-confidence, not so much. Wouldn't it be fantastic if there was a formula? Well, that's what we're going to do. And here's how you do it. I want you to talk to the person next to you. We're going to define self-confidence. That's what we're going to do right now. We're going to define what self-confidence is. So talk to the person next to you. Get into groups of 3, maybe groups of 4. And I want you to come up with your personal definition of what self-confidence is as a life skill. Make as much noise as you like. Talk to the person next to you. Your personal definition of what self-confidence is. Go on, you get 30 seconds to do it. Make as much noise as you like. Go for it. What is self-confidence? What is it? Okay, so back to me, ladies and gents, for a second. Now, I've been doing this for about 20 years, as I say, so here are the kinds of things that you are saying. So let me give you some things that self-confidence is not. Self-confidence is not being fearless and thinking you can do anything. That's 7 tequila slammers at 10:30 on a Friday night. Yeah? So self-confidence, that's bravado, and bravado is very dangerous. Self-confidence is hard won. So it's not be fearless, believing you can do anything. But actually, a little bit of fearlessness is good. When you're doing a TED Talk, for example, just that little bit of fearlessness, of course I can do it, yeah? But it's not what self-confidence is. Here's hopefully what you were speaking about. The simplest definition of self-confidence, ladies and gents, believe in yourself. Believe in yourself. Have self-belief. It's as simple and as complicated as that. Self-confidence means believing in yourself and having self-belief. But there's another one I like. I probably like this one a little bit better. Be comfortable in your own skin. Be comfortable with who you are. Now, let's just stop that one there. That's essentially what self-confidence is. Self-confidence means believing in yourself and being comfortable in your own skin. So how do we work in a formula for that? Well, it's just summarizing it. Be yourself. Everyone else is already taken. Oscar Wilde. I love that quote. But here's my rider on it, ladies and gents. Here's my rider on it. Be the best version of yourself and be a better version of yourself tomorrow than you were today. That's what self-confidence is. Self-confidence is not easily won. Self-confidence does not come easy. So here's what we're going to do. Self-confidence is self-belief. Let's look at how you get self-confidence. And I want you to go into the same groups for a minute. I want you to think of something that you are good at. I want you to think of something that you do better than anyone else in this room. There are 176 people in this room. I make better frittata than every single one of you. Now, those of you who are from mainland Europe will know what a frittata or a Spanish omelette is. Those of you who are from the UK, it's an omelette. It's a set omelette. I don't care how good you are at making omelette. I'm better. You give me 6 eggs, a bit of broccoli, some cheese, maybe a little bit of herbs, maybe an onion and a potato, and I will make you a frittata you will eat all weekend, and you will want to have another one the next week. If you put Friday frittata into Instagram, you will get 77 of my frittata recipes. So there you go. I don't care how confident you are at making an omelette. Mine are right up there. So here's what I want you to do. Think of something you are good at. Think of something you do better than the average bear. Running, jumping, acting, spreadsheets, cooking, whatever it is. Don't make it drinking, yeah? Have a little chat. Have a little chat. How did you get good at it? Come on, you've got 60 seconds. If you're on your own, go speak to somebody. Come on, 60 seconds. Tell the group what you're good at. Go for it. Really go for it. What are you good at? What are you good at? Okay, so back to me, ladies and gents. Now, so here's where we are. The kind of things you're saying. Well, I practiced. I like doing it. I've done it a lot. Malcolm Gladwell will talk about 10,000 hours of practice. I failed a little bit. Yeah, I failed a little bit. All that kind of stuff. That's the kind of stuff that you get. So here's the straightforward thing about self-confidence, ladies and gents. Collect skills. Yeah. If you want to become more self-confident at anything, you collect the skills associated with that thing. I don't care how confident you are as a person. If I had a clarinet up here, yeah, you'd make a real fool of yourself if you thought, I can probably play that. You wouldn't even be able to put it together if you didn't know how a woodwind instrument worked. So it's quite straightforward. If you want to become more self-confident at anything, you collect the skills associated with that thing. Take public speaking, the thing we fear most out of everything. Students at Harvard University were polled. They were asked their biggest fear. Public speaking comes up number 1. Number 2 is walking into a room full of strangers and having to introduce yourself. That's big fear number 2. Interestingly, big fear number 3 is snakes. And death is only number 6. Yeah. So think about it. If you talk about public speaking, the thing that I do for a living, if you talk about networking, walking into that room full of strangers, we have lots of irrational fears. You collect the skills associated with that thing and you become more self-confident. If you have any other way of becoming more self-confident than that, I would love you to tell me what it is. It's hard won. It takes practice. So if you want to become more self-confident, you collect the skills associated with that thing. But that's the easy bubble. There's a third bubble. There's another bubble to complete the confidence formula. Now, I want to see if you can get it before I put it up there. It's not as simple as collecting the skills. There's much more to it than collecting the skills. So think of that thing you are good at. Imagine becoming an expert in it. Yeah? Imagine becoming an expert in it. How do you become, what do you need to do apart from collect skills if you really want to become an expert at something? You've got 30 seconds in your little groups. Come on, have a little chat about that. What would you put in the third bubble before I put it there, before I complete the formula? Go for it. Okay? How many have you got it? Self-awareness. So, at Kissing with Confidence, we have spent our lifetimes teaching this. If you want to become more confident in anything, you collect the skills associated with that thing. And then what you get is feedback. Tell the person next to you how much you love feedback. Be honest. Tell the person next to you how much you love instant, fierce, assertive, direct, useful feedback. Be honest. Tell the person next to you. Go on. Tell the person next to you. Tell the person next to you. Okay, so back to me. You have to do all three. Too many of us collect a few skills and become a little bit more self-confident, and then we kind of chuck it. So let me tell you a story about a tennis player, about a Scottish tennis player, Andy Murray. So when Andy Murray is number 4 in the world, he's 25 years old, he's got £10 million in the bank, he's doing all right for himself. His new coach, Ivan Lendl, says, "You're never going to win a major, Andy. The 3 guys above you have got second serves that are over 100 miles an hour. Yours is 80 miles an hour. There's the data. Your second serve is number 150 in the world. It is not possible to win a major tournament unless you get your second serve above 100 miles an hour." So come on, this is the easiest question I will ask you. Tell the people you've been working with. Now, his return of serve was as good as the other 3 guys. His first serve was as good as the other 3 guys. His court coverage was as good as the other 3 guys. You've got 10 seconds. Tell the person next to you, what did Andy Murray have to work on in order to have a chance to win a major and become number one in the tennis world. And bear in mind, Andy Murray is playing a sport we don't play in Scotland because it's always raining and there are only 3 red tennis courts. Go for it. What was you having to work on? Tell them in 10 seconds. Tell your colleague. So you know this, ladies and gents, yeah? You know this. Andy Murray has to work on his second serve. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting. The confidence formula is a little bit like juggling. It's a little bit like juggling. And it's interesting because you know there's some juggling balls out there, and you know if you can juggle or you know if you can't juggle. So if you can juggle, I would like you to come up on the stage, juggle with 3 balls. I would like you to come up on the stage and have a little juggle with me. Now, I know there are at least 2 of you. Up you come. If you can juggle, get yourself up on the stage. On you come, up you come. I think that's John. Have we got another one? Have we got another one? I think we've got Nick as well. Up you come. I hope you get juggling balls as well. Is it Nick, is it? Give him a round of applause as he comes up. So these guys can apparently juggle with 3 balls. I'm going to take 1 ball from you. I'm going to take 1 ball from you. And I want Nick and John to juggle with 2 balls. Stop! Now, all of you who can juggle with 2 balls are thinking Nick and John are rubbish at juggling because I can juggle like that and I'm really good, and they're kind of doing all this kind of crap. Now, here's what was interesting for me. Because they're so terrible at juggling with 2 balls, I know both of these lads can juggle with 3 because you have to unlearn the 2-ball juggling technique in order to learn to juggle with 3. Now, as soon as they can juggle with 3, you're going to give them a massive round of applause, but only once they do it. 3, 2, 1, guys, go for it. So that's the confidence formula. Thank you very much. Give them another round of applause, ladies and gents. So that's the confidence formula, ladies and gents. Yeah? Self-confidence comes from collecting skills. It's hard won. But if you just do the 2-1, 2-ball juggler, I collect a few skills. I went on a training program. I went on a leadership program. I learned to do that a little bit. And then you give up, the self-confidence disappears. And actually, one of the reasons we give up is we get that feedback. You're not very good at that. I don't like the way you did that. Feedback can be fierce, but you learn from feedback. And when you get that feedback, when you get that self-awareness, it inspires you to go and collect some more skills. As you collect some more skills, guess what? You become more self-confident. As you become more self-confident, you accept the feedback better. Are you with me? As you accept the feedback better, you start to crave the skills. You start to look for the skills. You become more self-confident. As you become more self-confident, eventually, you don't just look for them a little bit. Eventually, you find the best person in the world to give you feedback. You find the expert, and they will give you feedback. And they'll say, you're 3 out of 5 just now. You're 4 out of 5 just now. How would you like to be 5 out of 5? Ladies and gents, the confidence formula is about behavior change. So the thing I want to leave you with, I've still got loads of things I want to get better at over the piece. Yeah? The thing I want to leave you with is, if you become a 3-ball juggler, in any of these skills you're trying to learn, any of these abilities you're trying to learn, what it means is looking at your feedback and looking at your self-awareness, being self-aware, and going and collecting those skills, and that feeds in your self-confidence, whether it's public speaking, whether it's networking, whether it's your studies, or whether it's any individual trait that you want. The bad news is it doesn't come easily. The good news is, with time and patience and self-awareness and feedback and collecting those skills, you will become more self-confident. Quite literally, anything. It's really got nothing to do with those 7 tequila slammers. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks very much.